Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today we are going to discuss the Rune prisons, which is a little bit more of an endgame system. It's going to allow us to do a little bit more in the monoliths than what we have currently. We'll have some random encounters coming in, which is pretty cool. So let's dive into this and find out exactly what it is. Happy Sunday, travelers. Welcome to the 0.9.2 pre-patch blog post covering the new Rune prisons and experimental items coming this Thursday in Runes of Power. An area that we felt is in need of improvement with respect to last Epoch's endgame system is the moment-to-moment gameplay of completing echoes. This isn't something we feel we can fix with any single change, however we're still looking to improve this aspect of gameplay piece by piece. By introducing more random events that can happen in an echo, it can help to reduce the sameness of each echo. Just repeating the same thing over and over again feels very monotonous. However, random encounters definitely can spice that up, so I'm very excited for this, and with what it brings in terms of crafting and just gear change and just having that little sense of something new in those completions of echoes. So first we have Rune prisons. Rune prisons are a special type of encounter you can find in any monolith echo, as well as most campaign areas. While making your way through the world of eras of Eterra, you may find yourself coming across a large floating prison held in place with chains. This intermittent shudders betray the power that lies within these prisons, and here in this little GIF you can see what it looks like, and of course if you click on it and activate it, it explodes, releasing what's inside, which in this case will be exiled mages. By clicking on a Rune prison, you will unleash the exiled mage held within, who will become immediately hostile to both you and any enemies in the area. A key point there is enemies in the area, which means you could bring trains along with you, activate it, and watch them fight each other, I assume, which is a pretty cool aspect to kind of have an army with you that's fighting you, but then you can aggro it onto the exiled mage to help you there. These exiled mages will spawn with a random set of abilities. That sounds a lot like Orbis, where it has a pool of skills that it can choose from, and so it'll always be, or kind of feel mostly like a different fighting experience every time you take it on. So you'll never quite know exactly what you will be facing when you break them out, but always be ready for a fight. And then here you can see this one taking on the exiled mage, which already can tell you that it looks like it has some pretty cool skills. I'm really looking forward to fighting some of these. I've heard from people that have tested them at like Gamescom and stuff that they've been pretty hard, so we'll see just how it goes. If you manage to defeat this exiled mage, you will be rewarded with an experimental item, and potentially at higher levels a rune of research. So a couple of things going on once you defeat them. Experimental items. Experimental items are a new class of items being introduced in Runes of Power. These items, which at first glance may appear to you a standard magic, unique, or exalted item, however, on closer inspection you'll notice they come with a very special affix. These experimental affixes cannot be crafted or found through normal means, and are typically only found on items dropped by an exiled mage. And what's cool about this, and this example they give us of a pair of boots that has minion damage and minions being teleported with you in the transversal skill, is pretty cool. You can't put minion damage on boots, so it's just a really cool affix on an item that you wouldn't normally get it on, and I assume some of these affixes will be ones that we haven't seen before, although minion damage and obviously having minions teleport with you is something we've seen before, but not on boots. Now the main thing is you can't break this down, you can't shatter it and actually take that affix and put it somewhere else, so it's got to stay on the boots, which makes exiled mages a bit of a chase item because it's the only place that you're going to be getting them. But there is more. These experimental affixes can even roll exalted, as well as other potential for the other affixes on the item to roll as exalted. This means that you can in fact use a legendary item out of these. So you get an exalted one, you can try and get that exalted affix onto a legendary item. At higher levels you may also find a very special crafting item dropped by an exiled mage, a rune of research. Successfully defeating an exiled mage above level 70 has a chance to drop a rune of research. This rune will seal an experimental affix on an experimental item. This obeys the normal sealed affix rules in that the item can only have one sealed affix, and if I recall, a sealed affix doesn't have a chance to go onto your legendary item. But it will allow you to have basically a normal item And if you seal that affix, which this is what this item will do, it allows you to basically have a fit the fix on your, say, the item that they showed us, pair of boots, which can make it a really powerful item with a very special experimental affix. When sealing an experimental affix through the use of a Rune of Research, you have a chance to receive a particular powerful crafting item, a Glyph of Insight. When this glyph is used to upgrade a normal affix, it will change it into an experimental affix. This process is deterministic based on the item. So the way that I'm feeling that this might work, which would be really cool, is if you use a bunch of Runes of Research and you get a bunch of Glyphs of Insight, that on one item you might be able to have multiple experimental affixes if you were to upgrade 3 or 4 of the normal affixes into them. I'm not sure if it's limited to 1 or not, it doesn't say, but it'll be curious just how many you'd be able to roll on what item and just how experimental that item will become. This means if you have 2 of the exact same item, it'll always produce the same experimental affix, determining what exactly an item needs for each possible experimental affix. However, is something that may require a bit of experimentation. Sounds like we're definitely going to have to be playing around with this quite a bit. And then for the one-shot and lost catches, that's something that we'll learn about tomorrow. But for today, I'm actually pretty excited for this. I like random encounters. I like hard boss fights. I'm hoping that we get both of those out of this and that it doesn't turn into something that you start skipping over. I hope it does turn out to be fun and that you want to find them and you're exploring echoes more in order to get it. It looks like it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what a lot of those experimental affixes are. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for this and what you hope some of those experimental affixes could be. As always, stay safe, travelers.